Hello and welcome to the 8th part of the Hollow Knight any percent tutorial. Today I'll be going over the way to Deepnest. There are two ways of doing that. One will include trick 9 QGA, which is in my opinion the hardest trick, but first I will show a different way of doing it, which I will not be good at explaining that I've never done that. But first we just start by leaving, of course, Teacher's Archive, so just Swedish back here, do your jumps up there, then optimally, I'd say you just dash onto that platform and then can get up here. Then we just C-dash again. Maybe wait for that Judge Tumor Fly to disappear, and then do a left side climb, which in my opinion is not all too difficult. Then after that we just go up to the bench. I recommend benching at the beginning, and we start dashing out. Ignore the geo-offset now, I fucked up at the beginning, so ignore that. Then we do 4 dashes because that is faster than actually C-dashing there. And then we start heading down and going towards what would be Queen Station, but we of course won't be going to Queen Station, we just start C-dashing through here. And then continue the C-dash a bit in fungal and then drop above this hole. So after that just quickly go left, pogo on the bouncy shrooms, go down, don't get hit by the tiny fungus thing, go up the wall, and then just enter the transition. Then the next transition, just do the tiny hops there, pogo twice and start your C-dash again. And then at this wall, do a fireball and C-dash into the next room. Now, it's important to get to this area, otherwise the floor won't open, funnily enough. Now we are in Deepnest and just start by heading right and just drop down and go to the next transition. So far so easy. We continue left. Don't question no choices, just go left, or maybe take it a bit slower if you don't want to take the dash, but there will be a bench coming up soon as well. So once again, now we are at left, then drop down on the right and go left again. And then we just start dashing until we get to this Garp tunnel. And then wait for this Garp to pass if we need to. And then just continue snaking through here and go on this left outcrop, going up again, and then we will get to the Deepnest spa, which I would recommend to bench here when starting, because it's Deepnest. I must have never did this shot because I don't like Deepnest, but we just start by heading up. Maybe not damaging as much as I do, because you having health is good. Then just in the next room, be careful with the dashes because there are a lot of spikes on the walls right now, and you just need to get a feeling for where you can C-dash here. In itself, you could have C-dashed this entire thing. Then we go up and start a C-dash. We cancel that quickly after entering the room, then head up, and yeah, next part I'm not very proud of. Don't do what I'm doing here, because yeah, you saw me drop down there. In itself you can just try to go back up here and then head over. So you can see if you get down, fall down, you can just pogo up the Weaver links, otherwise go right, go up again. Yeah, this is where the two routes will converge again, but we get to that later. Then we just go up, we climb up the wall, quickly go around here. You should be in front of that spider so you can just pogo it, and then start a C-dash on the wall. And we want to cancel it early enough, otherwise we will fall down, which loses you, I think, right around 30 to 40 seconds. And then it's just now entering Beastan, Beastan, and you would sit on the bench. But let's get over the entire route once again, because like I said, I'm not good at explaining the route because it's my first time doing this. I recommend, if you want to see how it's done properly, go look at Sawayoshi's run on the leaderboard. They have the fastest Deepnest run on the leaderboard, so yeah, recommend to watch that in general if you just want to see some other strats or how things are done better. watch some of the top runners runs. It's very helpful in my opinion. It helps you with just learning in general. Because I'm not the best necessarily explaining some things, as you might have noticed already. But yeah, once again, just head into Fungal, do a bouncy pogos, then careful navigation here to not get hit. Depending on that position or how long you hold left, you can also pogo that shroom thing, but you don't need to. Here, don't dash too early, you see you get ceiling boost all the way down, tiny hop, 2 pogos, and then in itself you would of course C-dash through here. Which now I just cancelled for some reason, so then once again head to the other side of this to trigger the floor breaking, and back into Deepnest. Now, don't go too early like I did there, and just go down here. This should be one of the easier rooms, and in this one, if you like, you have to, if you want to have the proper Garpit cycles, you probably have to go through there very quick without any hesitation, but that does not matter. Now here, just don't go down there because I went down there because I'm dumb. My floors are broken because I didn't love the safe state and just a bench. And then you could also probably damage tank in this room through the Garpits, but it doesn't really matter. Just wait here once again and then do all the usual snaking around the room. Go left, head up, go a bit further left and head up again. And then just drop down into the spa and take the bench. Also, maybe don't necessarily C-dash into the next room because the wall is there immediately. You could fireball this husk or just damage tank. You can fireball this husk as well. It's just find a way of what you're doing, maybe. Really look at the Sawayoshi runs to see what they are doing because they know what they're doing. Then just careful movement here to not fall into the spikes or dash into them because they are placed very precariously. And in itself, like I said, this is a C-dash and then cancel it, go up C-dash. And then we just go up again. And thing is, I think I have to fall down. Yeah, I fall down again. What I try to do there is C-dash on the wall there, which is what, for example, Sawa is doing, but I could make it work. And once again, just head left, head up. This is where the road later then will converge. And then we just... What you could also do now here is a full jump to poke with that lantern there, but normal wall jump is also enough. Maybe not get hit there and ignore that. Anyways, but I think what comes after is very simple. We see that later again anyways. So, now for the QGA route. Don't do this unless you don't think you have any more time save in the Deepnest route, in my opinion, because you can still get very good times with Deepnest route. QGA is not an easy trick. It's a fun trick in my opinion, but it's not easy. So, this is probably the trick that I practiced the most out of all of them in all the categories I've run, but you will see why. So, that is the goal, and this works because hitboxes are weird. I will show the hitboxes later, but to get the timing and everything, I started by just practicing at this top corner where I didn't need to worry about the acid and just aim for this tiny sprig of grass to start C-dashing, and of course not hold too long because otherwise you'll die. Now, what you want to do is just either big jump or a tiny jump, then hold your C-dash until you're ready to release it. And like I said, I myself like cancelling my C-dash a bit early and not face tanking the wall. And also what I always did when practicing is, or still do, to just ping pong between the two sides because it works. But you see, you have to get a feeling to when you actually can dash, and it's sometimes very annoying to get the feeling because you just keep jumping too high, where you just see either I'm way too high to even charge my C-dash, or sometimes you just can't even start charging the C-dash because you press C dash too quickly, then it won't charge and you will just are holding it, but you will fall down. Or if you just, like I said, you saw that multiple times, I get to the wall, but I then just don't press C dash, or I press it too early. Other things that can happen are that if you dash too high, wait, so what you want to do now, jump, and just as you hit the acid, dash back into the wall. So you see my eyes are now maybe a third below the acid, and then, yeah, jump out. But like I said, I don't really like the crashing into the wall thing. I don't like the sun. But yeah, there you now see with the hitboxes. The yellow hitbox us, the red is where it hurts us. This will show as soon as we leave the C dash, because during C dash our hitbox is a bit shifted. The yellow was on the line. Now the yellow will be below the line. Obvious death, and for the next one we actually get decently high above it. So you now see a few pixels actually in between there. You will take a tiny slide down always at the end and get through. Now, the thing I was saying before is sometimes when you are dash a bit too high, you can dash a bit too high into the wall, and then you can't see dash there for some reason, and you will just slide off. That happens. If you don't, so you just saw me kill the moss fly and then get hits here, but I will do that again in a second because it's a bit awkward doing this segment without a full soul because I died earlier. So I will just quickly use bench warp mod to deploy a bench here and then quickly regain my shade. The geo doesn't, like during the practice, the geo doesn't matter here. When doing this segment you want to be a bit above 200, you should be around 200 geo, so don't worry about that right now. So we just start with a C dash, and then like I said, if you're low on soul, cancel a bit early, get 3 hits here, and then you can also just get a lot of hits here. Here you can even heal 1 there and then start hitting it again. And for the next part, we just want to C dash off of here, and the spikes of that spike back can be a bit annoying sometimes, and it sometimes just hits you. Then we start falling down. I like to see this from the wall, you don't need to, you can also see this from the wall. Next part is Petra Arena, also very annoying part sometimes because Petras can be annoying. What you want to do is just quickly kill the first Petra and then hit the other 2 Petras at the same time with the fireballs. Sometimes so what you need, Petras have 45 health, so they need a double hit and 1 nail hit, so you just start by cancelling C dash, I pogo once and slash back into position. This is very consistent for the double hits, and then I start my jump as soon as the Petra reaches the foreground, then dash back into the wall, because otherwise you won't hit the back one with the second fireball, and if they don't die, just dash forward, jump up, and up slash them. In itself simple enough, but like I said, the timing on the C dash at the beginning can be annoying. So what do we do, for example? It's just, there we get the double on the first one, which is good because, like I said, 45 health, your VS does 40 on a double hit. Sometimes the Petra's not cooperative, and let's say you miss your pogo or anything, just get through to the other side and fire from that side. And then the same thing, just try to hit the Petras with the fireballs. Sometimes you have to improvise this part, sometimes you can just go. And once again, at the beginning I recommend to maybe actually take the bench here in Queen's Garden as well at corner for, just out of safety reasons, because sometimes you might leave Petra Arena on 1 HP and yeah, you don't want to die in Queen's Garden because then you have to do QJ and everything again. So we can't go through the gate, so we just start by dashing twice onto the platform and just 2 tiny hops and a few dashes. And here, this Petra, as you can see, sometimes you can upslash it into the thorns, sometimes you can just pogo it into the thorns, and sometimes you just can get below it. Then we just open the lever, break the wall and just head onward into the next room, go above, and then start dropping. You can get a few hits here if you need them. You can also go below and then we just start our C-dash into this room, which you don't have to C-dash into this room if you don't want to. You can also just do a normal dash. Most people do that, so then just you can updash this and then pogo the first mouse fly, well, second technically, and then you just have to have a feeling for your dash distance, but in itself the dashes in this room are simple enough, so instead of pogoing you can also just updash and head to the next platform. And most of the things you can just do neutral dashes from platforms or hold left, there, hold left. Here I recommend to quickly hold still for a second, otherwise you won't get the second dash off and you will land in the spikes. And then just once again we walk through, do our dashes by holding left. I mostly, as you see, hold neutral for a few frames there just to not mess up my positioning. Then in the next room it's just the way into Deepnest from here, and this also has different ways of doing it, so I tried to show her the fastest way, but I completely messed it up. But you could just do so the fast way would be a drop where you don't clip any of the walls or anything or land anywhere. For that we just start of course by walking off, then hold right until we reach this wall, hold a bit left just so enough to not hit the spikes, and you just see me now fall past the walls, and then you can just hold left at the end. If you hold too early you will catch the spikes. Otherwise just find a way to get through there yourself at the beginning and maybe try this at the later, but in itself it is not too difficult to do. So once again, just the positioning at this longer spike wall is a bit tricky at the beginning, but otherwise. Anyway, next room we start with a ceiling boost there, and then just head down, pogo there. Here you once again can get a ceiling boost. On this wall, I like this wall a bit because sometimes the spider can be in a different position and you might land on it. But we break the wall, ceiling boost with dash, then just dash through this area, do a tiny dash, drop, hold the wall, and be careful of the spikes. The spikes are annoying. Here we just do a double dash, and this is the room where the routes converge again. So we just cancel, C dash, jump up, and pogo the lantern if you want to, or just wall jump. Ignore that because that floor of course isn't broken for you. We just then charge a C dash and go back to Beast Den. This is already the entire TrapBench split. And then in the room we just start our C dash again, and then we would start sitting on the bench. But like I said at the very beginning, I recommend to start out with the Deepnest route. The save states that I linked in the first part of the tutorial does include Deepnest save states as well, or Deepnest route save states, and it's just way more beginner friendly than doing QGA and Petra Arena. Petra Arena is just, if you die in Petra Arena, it's the worst. But yeah, next time we will be going through Deepnest and doing the last part as well, being THK. So, be prepared for that. Thanks for watching this part of the tutorial, and goodbye.